everyone. Welcome back to Vice Cubes. I'm your host, Raven Aiko. Thank you for joining me today. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm on Spreaker, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Mixcloud, Castbox, and YouTube. Come follow me on Instagram at Vice Cubes, where I often share pics that correlate with each episode, and come visit my website at vicecubespodcast.com. You can also send me an email at vicecubes@gmail.com. Today we'll be discussing the murder of 25-year-old Brittany Jane Royal. Listener discretion is advised. On the morning of May 28, 2013, police responded to a report of a body caught in a fishing line from a nearby boat in the waters off Kalapana in the Puna district of the Big Island of Hawaii. A lava tour boat stayed with the body until divers from the Hawaii County Fire Department and a helicopter arrived and was able to retrieve the body. It was the body of 25-year-old Brittany Jane Royal. She was 2 months pregnant. Her body was tangled in a fishing line and she was nude. She had a tattoo that read Veritas, the Latin word which means truth. I've read accounts that said that the boat that stayed with the body had to fend off sharks while they waited for the helicopter. Her family described Brittany as a free spirit, kind of a hippie who was into yoga and loved music. She was originally from California but fell in love with Hawaii when she visited. She also fell in love in Hawaii with 22-year-old Boaz Johnson, or Bo as he was called. He was originally from Alaska. When she found out she was pregnant, she decided that Hawaii was where she wanted to put down roots and raise her child. Apparently, the couple had been camping in the lava fields prior to Brittany's death, but it seems more like they may have been living there or camping for an extended period of time. According to sources, Brittany and Bo were planning on purchasing land in Puna and starting an organic farm. Brittany was going to teach yoga, and Bo was going to give lava tours. The Puna area of the Big Island is the location of the 2018 volcanic eruption that ravaged the area, destroying much of the coastline and homes and farms in the area, leaving many people homeless and their businesses gone. Lava tours are very popular and lucrative by land, boat, and helicopter. According to their families, they were both so excited that Brittany was expecting their child. They had already given it a name, Io, which means Hawaiian hawk. Hawaiian hawk was a symbol of royalty in Hawaiian culture and was considered an aumakua, or a family or personal god or protector. After Brittany's body was found, police obviously wanted to talk to Bo Johnson. However, he was nowhere to be found. They got a break 2 days later when a tip led them to the campsite where Brittany and Bo were staying at. According to search warrants, investigators saw blood on the clothing hanging on a clothesline and on the back of the tent. They later discovered human hair and tissue and drag marks along the lava field about 100 yards south of the campsite. Police named Boaz Johnson as the prime suspect in Brittany's murder. The families of both Brittany and Bo, however, feared that they were both murdered and that Bo's body just hadn't turned up like Brittany's did. The last time Bo's family heard from him was on May 27, 2013, the day before Brittany's body was found. However, a friend of Bo's said that he spoke with him by telephone the day after Brittany's body had been found and was told that he and Brittany were fine and that they were on their way to Hilo. The day after her body was found. Interesting, no? So I'm not sure when this part happened. This is about letters that started to arrive from an anonymous source naming Brittany's killer and also saying that the person had also killed Bo and their unborn baby. It kind of alluded to the fact that Puna, where the couple were staying, was not for strangers. It's for Hawaiians. One of the letters said that, quote, Bo made 4 mistakes, unquote. It said that Bo was trying to buy land and conduct lava tours without giving locals a cut of $1,000 a week. Bo's parents said that he was supposed to have signed a deal to purchase land the day he vanished. This was supposed to have been several acres, I believe. According to the letter, the alleged killer said that, quote, the haole had to be killed before he buy land, unquote, to send a message that, quote, Puna is for the Pono. Now, for anyone listening who is unfamiliar with Hawaiian language, haole is usually a term that means not local or foreigner. It could be a derogatory term, but not always. Sometimes it's just descriptive. And the word pono means righteousness. So the letter also made statements to the fact that Bo and Brittany were taken out on a boat and thrown into the ocean. I got a little bit more graphic than that with the details, but basically that's the gist of it. At the same time, signs started popping up in Puna saying, quote, you killed the baby and Bo and Hui on the lava. Confess to the priests or Crime Stoppers, unquote. So that was kind of interesting. On December 18th, 2013, a grand jury indicted Johnson for second-degree murder. A circuit court judge issued an arrest warrant and sealed the indictment. So by then, she had been she had been dead for several months, and Bo Johnson had been missing. But the mystery and the case were closed when the body of Boaz Johnson was found by a hiker on January 2nd, 2014, in a remote grove of trees 1.5 miles away from the campsite where the couple had been staying. He was hanging from a tree. DNA tests and dental records confirmed his identity, as his body was already decomposing. A composition book was found near his body. In it contained a 3-page confession. A forensic document examiner determined that it was indeed his handwriting. According to Assistant Police Chief Henry Tavares, quote, Bo confessed to strangling Brittany while in a domestic dispute and to throwing her body in the ocean. He also indicated his intent to end his own life, unquote. Brittany's family, although saddened that their daughter and sister had been killed by someone that she loved, was grateful that it had come to an end. They said that they were thankful to the police department that helped in the investigation and that they could see why Brittany could have fallen in love with Hawaii. In a statement, her father said, quote, thank you to all. One evil act will never ruin the aloha spirit we have received and that Brittany loved so much, unquote. Her mother stated, quote, Brittany, fly my little bird, be free. Io, soar like a hawk, gone but not forgotten, unquote. If you remember in the beginning, I said that Brittany had a tattoo that said Veritas, which means truth. Well, both Brittany's brothers and her mom got tattoos honoring Brittany that say Veritas and Equitas, which means truth and justice. I don't know what became of the letters that were written and flyers that were posted that named someone else. Apparently, they actually gave a name, the person who they said had been the killer of both Brittany and Bo. So I don't know how far that investigation went or how seriously that was taken by the police. I don't know why anyone would have done that, perhaps maybe to incite bad race relations between locals and haoles. I don't know. So now let's talk a little bit about victimology as it relates to domestic relationships. Victimology is fairly a new subset in the study of criminology that began to emerge in around the 1950s. It focuses on the need to examine the relationship between the victim and the criminal. The early work of German scholar Hans von Hentig developed a classification typology of crime victims and argued that there are not only physical elements to consider, but also social and psychological disadvantages common to many crime victims. Understanding victimology is in no way placing blame at all on the victim, but it has led to some important legislation for victims, such as VOCA, or the Victims of Crime Act, and also victim impact statements. One aspect of the study of victimology is to understand why criminals target specific victims. In the case of domestic relationships, the question becomes, why do victims stay in abusive relationships? Now, I don't know if Brittany was regularly abused by Bo or if her murder was just one huge explosion that just happened. I don't think we'll ever know because they're both gone. But this question is one that is frequently asked in many relationships where victims are killed by their partners, and understanding why they stay is an important part of helping them to get out safely. Experts say that the most dangerous time for an abused person is when they're trying to leave the relationship. It's when it can get the most violent and the most volatile. So this brings me to my next point here, and this is self-defense. So in my own personal opinion, and at this point I'm speaking about females just because, I know what it's like to feel afraid or vulnerable just walking to your car in the dark alone. My personal opinion and experience is that all women should be trained in at least some form of self-defense. I studied Taekwondo into adulthood, and my sensei always made sure that for part of the class, he taught women little moves we could do against an attacker just to allow us time to get away and get help. Now, those classes not only taught the art itself, but the awareness. Being aware of your surroundings and being aware of, that gut feeling you get when you think someone is following you or someone may be hiding in the shadows. Well, it gives you that confidence of knowing that, like for me, it's knowing that I'm not helpless, that if faced with it, I could defend myself, enough possibly to get away. And the reason I bring this up is because I have daughters, and, the one thing I was sure to teach them was self-defense, the ability to not cower when faced with an attacker. Now, I posted pictures of this couple on Instagram, and you'll see that he was not much bigger than she was. And again, I'm not at all saying that she didn't fight as hard as she could. But I would like to think that if it were me or if it were, my daughters or, that she would know enough to defend enough to find a split second to get away, to give herself every chance of surviving such an attack. I implore all of you with daughters, and sons too, just to think about some self-defense classes for them. I hope they'll never have to use it, but if they do, they may have a fighting chance. Also, it does wonders for their self-esteem, focus, self-confidence. And with what's been going on today, and I'm talking about all of the child abductions, the child trafficking. I'm sure you've heard about it on the news or, online. Here in Hawaii, we've had so much of that going on. Many kids have been, they go missing. Sometimes the police say that they're runaways, that they're not really missing. I don't know, I don't know what's going on, but I do know that a lot of children, are missing. They're taken for who knows what reason, child trafficking. I do believe that it does happen, and I do believe that it does happen here in Hawaii. And, teach your kids about victimology. Teach them, how to, and again, I don't want to sound like I'm blaming victims, but teach them how to make themselves less of a victim. Teach them to, if someone approaches them, teach them what to do. Teach them to scream, teach them to yell, teach them to fight. Anything that they can do, to get away. Teach them, have a safe word with them. Teach them a safe word. Whatever that word is, if somebody comes up to them, if they're younger, saying, "Oh, your mom and dad said I got to pick you up." Well, what's the safe word? If they don't have that word, then they don't go with them. Teach them that, and this is for grown-ups too. If you're being, threatened, if your life is being threatened, if you're being attacked, if you're being taken, drop things, leave a shoe behind, take off your watch and drop it, take off an earring and drop it, leave clues behind so that people can find you or people can, kind of have an idea of where you were, where something happened to you. All of it helps, and it's going to sound morbid, but if